When you enter my dad's studio, there's a plaque that reads something like this: "The gods will not subtract from humans the time they spent fishing." He likes fishing. I hate it. I don't have the patience for that. And somehow I hope that the gods will give me back all the time that I spent cabling studios. So yes, it's finally finished. It took something like 3 months for me to get to a point where everything now it's cable and synced, and I can press one button and everything works. And since yesterday I start recording thing and everything, it's great. But it took a lot of effort, a lot of thinking, a lot of headache, a lot of money. So, as I promised, I wanted to go on and give you my studio diaries and what happened and how I put everything together. And today I want to discuss about what is this final iteration of the studio, and then I'll come back with some more in-depth videos about the hidden expenses of a studio and what you need, and things that maybe you didn't think about it at the beginning, and then they hit you in the face. And yeah, it has definitely been a roller coaster of, happiness and worriness and blah blah blah. But what matters is that now I can really work in the way I always wanted. Of course, everything changed when I decided to acquire the Zahl AM1, the desk. Initially, the studio was just the Zahl desk there with my synth. Maybe I would have bought an SSL Big 6, and then some synth, and that's it. Then that occasion came out, and literally the console changed my life. I use it, of course, every day. It really pushed my creativity. It's something that now that I have it, I cannot go back. So I'm really happy about that. But of course, that brought many new more issues, more than issues, things that I had to solve and rethink. First, for example, was like my sound card was just 18.8 out. And so now I needed something bigger, and that's thanks for an Antelope, which I will start a collaboration with. They sent me the Orion 32, which is going amazing so far, and allow me to have 32 ins, 32 out. So everything now is cabled. I can record everything separate. Plus, I can record my stereo mixes. So I kept my original workflow in going stereo and record performances and not single takes. But I have the chance also to record every single part, and that's when you move more in a professional way, when you work for somebody else, when you do scoring, when you do commission, you might have to work in a, more convenient way for future changes, feedbacks, and you know what I mean. All right, so before going handheld and showing you the cabling and what the parts are, first, the way you can support me. You can subscribe to this page and share this content. Super free, super easy. You can also go on my Bandcamp, Spotify, listen to my music. I do that. That's my, things that come from my heart. I would appreciate if you can support that side too. Then you can buy from the affiliate link down below. Things cost the same for you. Even if you click the link and then you buy a cable, I will get a tiny percentage, but that really helps me going on. And lastly, but probably the most important way, is being a Patreon. On Patreon, I go more in depth. I do one-on-one lesson. I always reply to any question you send me, and probably I will do, or even about the studio, I will do some tutorial, like in-depth lesson about cabling, using patch bays, things that are very technical and took me months of thinking. So I would like to share my experience if you are just starting out. So the other thing is I had the chance to confront myself with a lot of pro people in Riverside, and they give me a lot of advices on how to cable things, what cable to use, DIs, how to put together stomp boxes, effect pedal with the desk. So there's a lot of small thing that being in a community was very easier to get to know how the workaround, and I will share that in my Patreon. That said, let's talk about the philosophy of the studio. Before, when I was in New York, I had a studio based on a creative side and a post-production side. I kept that idea in a similar concept. That doesn't mean anything, but you know. So I have a synth wall here. This is basically where I put the synth that I choose. I decided not to get any more synth for a year now, because recently I got the Super 6, that it's amazing. I refined my modular, I put back my SH101, the Deckard Dreams, Model 1 at the base, so everything is connected, and then some pedal there. So here is where I can be creative, I can create, and I love, now my head is gonna be cut, I'll stay like this. I love to be standing when I use my modular. It's something that I hated being on a table. I don't know why. When I stand, it's nicer. So this gives me the access of everything I wanna play. On this other, and it's on a Jasper stand. I'll show you then by hand how it works. It goes, every of these synth, we have 6 sources, goes inside the 6 ins of the Model 1, and from the Model 1 I go in a channel on the mixer. So that is a limiting thing, because of course everything will be smashed in a stereo track, but it's fine. I decided to go like that because at the moment I have limited amount of channel on the mixer. I will buy them little by little because they cost like my right arm, my left arm. The right, it's more expensive. So little by little I want to have another, I would need another 3 stereo channel to have everything separated. But I like to use the Model 1 to do a premix and then create, here I create like texture and pads, so it's fine. It's a compromise, but a good compromise. Then on this other side I have my Zahl desk, which is the top has few synth that I like to work on sitting. Those are the synth that, for example, the Rytm, that takes a lot of time to create patches, so I want to sit and really focus on that. Then I have the instrument and tools that I'm sent by companies. For example, now I'm working on the Syntrix 2 demo, so it's on the desk and I am taking time to learn it. And then I have my live setup. My live setup that is on the corner, it's usually the Octatrack. Now it's Octatrack, the Godfather. I'm using some Elektron machine drum and the Vermona. And that is every day I come and I just sit down, practice a little. And I don't really have to, because I know those things like my wife. Maybe I know them better than my wife, but don't tell her. And then I have the drawer of here where I put few goodies. I have the Machine Plus, I have the Aken Continuum that I play for also recording, doing scoring, using it a lot. Then I have a Make Noise, Strega control, and the Chic controller. Boom. And so basically this is it's also where I do post-production, where I sit down and mix, like do editing of the tracks, do arrangement, and then I do the summing in the desk. Next to it, I have the Zahl rack system, where I have all of my rack instrument. That has to be cleaned up a little. Now that I have the Orion, I will remove some of the things to make it more simple. I'll show you what I have, but I have the basic rack that I use always. On top, I have the effects that I touch continuously. So we have the new Ecofix AFX3, which I use now in every single track. It's an amazing tape delay. Then the original Space Echo 201, and then the Model H3000 DSE from Eventide, and the Prime Time. And down below I have the Solid State Fusion, which I use on the hardwired on the master, and the Overstayer modular channel. That's it. I am thinking of getting an SSL G compressor because I love it. I always use it on the master, so that's I think the missing link. And maybe I would love a Bricasti reverb. I would love, yeah, probably Bricasti will be the next big thing. We will see. And then, of course, in the middle we have the Zahl AM1 desk, which is the centerpiece of my studio, which is my baby. I have few effects that I use with it, I'll show you, and the analog Rytm from Elektron, and the this other side, and the Avalon 303. Then my speaker right now are Adam S2 V plus a sub down below. Might change those in something bigger, and that's the next two steps are sound treatment. This is what it will come in after Easter, going to Italy next week, and then I will start doing the sound treating of the room, which is really important. And after that I will think end of year probably the speakers, the monitors, which one I will choose and where I want to go. Well, that's it. So basically the workflow in the studio is a very fluid one. When I play, I now have everything synced with the overbridge. So I have on this table the Syntakt, and on that table the analog Rytm. I press play in the DAW, and through overbridge those things start, and it's very tight how they are synced, and they then sync everything else in the studio. This is for now the solution that I find that it really works well. Might change in the future, but for now I'm happy like that. So let me grab the camera and I can show you all the part one by one. Alright, so let me first show you what happened. I have on my template two instances of overbridge called Syntakt, which they only send the play and stop. So if I press this, everything starts. So my octa track, my machine drum, this is synced too. Of course here I have the Rytm and 303, and here the percons and all the other stuff. So let me stop the audio. How these work? The connection goes from the DAW to the analog Rytm through just one USB. I don't know why I do this high pitch thing, but lately it's happening. I am aware of that. I need to stop it. So USB in here, and then this is synced using a DIN from the two out of the Rytm, and then one out MIDI cable goes all over the Super 6, which get the clock. Super 6 MIDI through goes inside the percons. The percons clock out in CV goes into the Pamela Pro Workout. There. And from the Pamela Pro Workout I have one clock going to the Usta, one clock going to the SH101, one clock going to the easel. One guy is left out, the Deckard Dream. The Deckard Dream is synced It's not synced, but I will use the MIDI out, not the through, the MIDI out of the Super 6. So when I play this keyboard, I can play that synth and also use the arpeggiator, things, blah, blah, blah. These two guys need to be wired still, but they will. So this other side, the same, USB cable go inside the Syntakt, from the Syntakt MIDI out into, MIDI through into the Octatrack, and then MIDI out into the Performer, through into the Machine Drum, and then through into the Godfather, which I'm working on, demo coming soon. And then I have another MIDI through into the Syntrix right now, and the Waldorf Iridium. And Iridium, I use it a lot for pads, for arpeggiation, whatever. So my template, as you can see, it's very simple. There's these two syncing track at the top, and then I have all the 16 channel out of the mixer from 1 to 8 mono, and then the 4 stereo. Then I have 3 group, and then I have all the effects separate. So Space Echo, Prime Time, H3000, the Space, the CXM, and then I have the mixer out of basically what this knob. So I can have everything, the performance that I'm doing. I had to find a trick for the effects, and the trick was that the send goes into the effects, then the effects go into the Orion here, and then from the Orion back into the mixer, because the effects return on the Zahl doesn't have direct out. It's the only things that I wish the Zahl had, but we cannot have everything. On the Zahl we have the Benny Dub, which is my go-to dub delay, which has its own personal channel, number 7, because I use dub delay with feeding it back. The Eventide Space, which is one of my 2 staple reverb, I'm using that, and the CXM 1978. Then I have the Benny Dub phaser, the new one, which I'm using when I do dub things, and here the auto, which is not connected to anything, but I use it when I need something, so it's connected and I just plug in synth. Then the Rytm and the 303 are my two of my favorite synths, so I use them a lot. And that's it. Here we have the Chorus Echo as its own channel 2, so it's channel 8, so I send to it, and then it goes directly in one channel. These other are all wired into that system, I tell you. Then the solid state fusion is in the master. It has to be patched, honestly, but I could actually hardwire to the master. I might do that. Then the overstayer modular channel that is in an insert. And then here, these 3 Bantam patch bays, 96 point each, which are completely full. So basically, I can work without any cable. This is made that, for example, I have here the output of the synth that goes directly in the input of the mixer. And then I have the direct out of the mixer going inside directly the sound card, and that's because these are normal. That means that if nothing is plugged, the signal goes from the top to the bottom automatically. And so this means that everything in the studio works without any patching needed. Okay, let me put this back on the tripod. Okay, this was it. Basically, I show you how everything is connected to each other. Of course, it's not that simple. There's hundreds of cable, hundreds of patching, and it took really a lot of thinking. And of course, if any of you need some help in figuring out a studio, cabling and ideas, That's what Patreon is for. You can subscribe, talk to me, and we can find out some solution. At this point, I know a lot. What's the next step? Because I wish this was over and I don't have to think about anything else, but it's not. The next steps are, first I want to make it more cozier, so now I will think about a lighting system that I enjoy more. I want a carpet, I want to create a corner where I can just have like a sofa or something and relax a little, because I need it sometime. And then I need to work on the sound treatment. I already mentioned that, so I will probably do that in the next couple of months. That's the next step. And then measure the room, have a good response using the speaker that I have now, so I can do better mixes. And what else? And I think that once that is done, I have the dream studio that I always wanted. Well, I wish I had a couple of windows. That's the only things that I miss. But I have to say that how am I focused in this place? No distraction. I come the morning, I stay until night, and I'm really, really productive, really, really focused. So that's actually great. What else? Yeah, any regrets? No, I'm pretty happy. I definitely need to stop acquiring or have people sending me stuff for a while, because I really now need to focus on doing music and do my job. And it's great to have everything synced up like this, and especially also the CV part, which I never use it in conjunction with anything else, but now that I have the modular system synced, it's nice. It's definitely nice. It allows me to have more sounds, texture. I can press play and then walk around the studio, patching things, figuring out things. It's super, super fun. Whew, all right, then what's next? I'm gonna start also working a little more on the modular content, but just I want to do quick video once every few weeks about tips and things, because I'm not the modular guy, but you know, there's something I want to share. And I want to start more music, and soon I have few new ideas about my philosophical music talks that will come soon. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you as usual next week. Ciao.